Let's talk about the famous Toastery Bowl over there in Charlotte. Western Kentucky catching 2.5 versus Old Dominion. Western Kentucky, their roster right now is teetering on the edge of implosion. Little underwhelming year for them. Of course, Corley got hurt early this year, but then he came back and it felt like him and Austin Reed just didn't have that, connection that they're so adept at having. And I think it was a letdown year for the Hilltoppers, their fan base. I think they really thought they had a shot to win the CUSA this year with all the movement. Uh, but yeah, they lost to New Mexico State. And what they finished, what, fourth in the CUSA this year? Behind Jacksonville State, behind New Mexico State, behind Liberty. A little underwhelming. And on the other end of the sword, right, Old Dominion, they had an okay season, but they played in the Sun Belt, very competitive Sun Belt. They find a way to make it to a bowl game. Uh, they're not a great team. I mean, look, they lose Javon Harvey in the transfer portal. He actually just recently committed to Texas A&M. So he will not be playing in this game. I think you got a lot of weird stuff going on here. Plus, Western Kentucky's already pretty abysmal secondary. He's not going to be having Baker at quarterback, Stout at cornerback, Talika Allen is going to be out. There's a lot of pieces missing. This Western Kentucky team I know is more talented than this Old Dominion team, but they're missing a ton of pieces on that defense. And their offense has kind of struggled this year relative to what I think we thought we were getting. So I think that's why Western Kentucky's catching 2.5. Do you have a thought on this game or a lean?
You have a lean, and it's going to be Old Dominion. I just think Western Kentucky's losing a ton. Now, you're hearing some reports that, like, some of these guys will still play in the bowl game, even though they're in the transfer portal. But, like, how does that work? How bought in can you actually be if you're 1 foot in the portal, 1 foot out? I don't love the vibes there in Western Kentucky. They had to
Plus, like
replace a
what,
lot last year.
three offensive linemen? Is that what you're talking about? Like, are those guys possibly still playing in the bowl game or
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's just like who knows? I don't think a lot's coming out there on who's actually can play. It's up to the coaching staff if they I mean they can technically, but it's up to the coaching staff if they'll let them. But yeah, it's tough there for Western Kentucky. You mentioned the disappointing season. Like 7-5 is fine. And you're finishing what fourth
yeah,
in this
I think that's normally
USA.
the expectation for a team like Western Kentucky. That's normally the expectation. When you have Austin Reed as your quarterback and an NFL talent like Malachi Corley, you keep them on your roster. Both of those guys that if they had entered the transfer portal last year, they would be playing Power Five football this year. If they had entered the transfer portal last year, they would have. But they stayed and they stuck it out. No Ben Arbuckle calling plays on offense.
That's a big one there. Yeah, you kind of lost to all the teams you should have lost to, and you didn't beat any of the teams you shouldn't have beaten, if that makes sense. Right? Your five losses were to the three teams ahead of you in conference, and then Ohio State and Troy. So two other teams very well respected in their own conferences. But I'm gonna go Old Dominion here. I think the Sun Belt is just we talked about earlier, they're just significantly better than a lot of other group of five conferences. And I think Old Dominion's gonna come to play. I really do. I don't know how I don't know. I just think Western Kentucky is kind of in struggles. You don't even know if Austin Reed's playing in the bowl game. I cannot find a ton of information on that.
Or
And
Malachi
the pack,
Corley. Do we know if they're opting out? I don't know. I would assume Austin Reed plays, but Malachi Corley, I don't know how much his draft stock is going to shoot up just from this game. So,
no. And one thing you did mention is Jason Henderson for Old Dominion is
yeah,
out. Right, monster at linebacker there, a bajillion
huge.
tackles. Um, but at the same time, like I think they're deeper than just your top receiver and then your star defensive player. Like I think they can rebound off of that if that makes sense.
Yeah, and look, Javon Harvey, like he was a really, really good receiver, but I don't think the offense benefited him like greatly. Like there were, I mean, Romello Murphy, I mean, he more yardage on more catches than well, actually less catches. But I mean, Javon Harvey was their basically their third leading receiver this year. You knew, you just know that they can get production in the receiving game from other spots. Yeah, this is a tough game for me, but I am gonna go with Old Dominion. I'm just gonna do it. I'm with you there. I think for all the reasons that you said. I'm not even gonna repeat anything that you said. Just everything that you said rings very true. So I'm gonna ride with you. I'll take Old Dominion -2.5, and I will also take them to win straight up. So let's go Monarchs. Do us some good here. And yeah, that's not one that I feel super confident about. Because they're also missing their starting safety, I believe, who's got like over 100 tackles on the year. So I'm gonna hold off putting a ton of confidence points on Old Dominion, but I do like them better than Western Kentucky for this game.
Yeah, I do think he hit a couple big plays with Romello Murphy and Kelby Williams, both guys that averaged over 18 yards a catch. And then you run the ball effectively. You put Western Kentucky behind the eight ball, and especially if they're down those offensive linemen and they're trying to protect, even if Austin Reed is playing. First of all, who's he throwing to? And if you can't protect him, like that's the thing with some opt outs, it's like that doesn't really matter. That guy's kind of very replaceable, just a guy, whatever. But if you lose a lot at a certain position, you have a lot of attrition there, like it could get ugly, especially if that position is thrust into a very important spot in the game and part of the game plan, then it could be bad, for Western Kentucky there and Austin Reed. Which is part of the reason why if Austin Reed's looking at his O line group and he's like, oh, these three guys are all opting out. Why am I playing in this bowl game?
Yeah. Hey guys, MD here. Uh, just here to invite you to the Redshirt Sophomore College Football Bowl pool. The link to join will be in the description down below. The winner, what do they get? A chance to be a guest on the Redshirt Sophomore podcast, of course. But to qualify for that, you got to make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. So make sure you click that subscribe button down below. When you sign up, all you got to do is just pick a team, right? See here in Miami, Ohio versus App State. This example selected Miami, and they have 12 confidence points on it. You're going to rate these games 1 to 43, and it's going to be a blast. I can't wait to have you guys on. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Thank you.